Fears of separating. Today I just want to talk a little bit about fears around separation. Often when people are weighing up whether to separate, whether it be with a marriage or whether it be with a relationship or just these sort of situations, it's very, very scary, and it brings up enormous amount of fear in people because it's the unknown and what's going to happen. And this is just a natural way for people to feel when they're trying to make the decision to separate. I myself have been through a separation about 2 years ago, and my husband and I talked at length about making that decision. It wasn't something that came lightly. It probably took us, I'd say, a couple of years, but we had discussed it. But it got to the point where the relationship was no longer working for both of us. There were things missing in that relationship that we just couldn't get back. And we had to make that decision. Are we going to allow each other to have a life, or are we going to just stay stuck for our children and for the wrong reasons when we could actually move forward in a positive way? So we actually decided to look at what some other couples had done, and we had heard of conscious uncoupling, which is almost like reversing when you've built up your foundation and you've built up your lifestyle and everything together. You kind of look at reversing it, so you help support each other financially and you move forward rather than just selling up, cutting the ties and making everybody feel very displaced. We decided that we'd buy another house, and we've both got our own homes, and the kids have that really good firm foundation, and they feel very secure moving forward that we've both got each other's back. So I'm very fortunate that I have a great rapport and relationship with my ex-husband, but we chose to make that step forward purely because it wasn't heading down that road. So we tried to salvage what we could. So when you're in these situations and you do feel fearful, and I admit as a single mum, and I think any single parent will tell you it's not an easy road, and I will be honest, it's been very up and down, and there's times that I've had enormous fears and felt very isolated in that busyness and chaos of coping on your own. But now I have a very good routine, and the kids are really good and they're very used to it, and they sort of seem to adjust to these things. And that's not saying it doesn't affect them, because of course things like this affect everybody, but at the end of the day, I think if you're in these situations and you're trying to look at avenues and ways to separate, or you're umming and ahhing what to do, you can look at things in a positive way, that moving forward it doesn't have to be all dealt with solicitors, and it doesn't have to be cut up, everything split, and sell your houses and start all over again, because that is where the thoughts and the fears are very daunting and overwhelming. So sometimes you've got to look at other ways that you can do it, and sometimes, especially financially, is such a huge thing when you've got children, that you have to both be very committed to that, because they're a constant expense, as we know. And I mean, and it's the emotional tearing apart too that is very difficult to deal with. So when you are thinking about separating, it's really important to weigh everything up and have really good, sit your partner down and have a really good talk about how you're actually feeling, because sometimes they might be feeling differently as well. And you know, if you can get yourselves on the same page and look at the future and say, well, if we do this moving forward, we can both achieve things and we can both come out of this okay. And you know, you want happiness for those people that you love and care about. You know, I still love and care about my ex-husband. Just because we couldn't make it work anymore doesn't mean I still don't care about him. So it's okay to actually have those feelings of wanting to separate, because it allows you to expand as a person and to allow them also to have the life and the joy that they deserve as well. So it doesn't all have to be negative and hard to deal with. All you've got to do is really sit down, talk about it, and try and nut out a program or some sort of way of moving forward that financially helps both of you. And you don't have to cut people out of your life. They're still like this. He's still my children's father, so I'm going to see him all the time. So the more pleasant you can make it, the more the kids see that. We even give each other a hug goodbye because we still care about each other. So, you know, if you're in these situations, don't let your relationships get to the point where they can't be repaired. You know, and that can happen to a lot of people. So try and salvage what you have got. And if you do need to separate, then that has to happen. And there are positive ways of moving forward. So they're just a few ideas that I've been through myself. But yeah, really think about it, because sometimes, as hard as it is to separate, it allows other avenues to open up and for things to come into your life as well as into their life too, and it doesn't all have to be negative. So yeah, just talk about it, keep the communication really open, and try and overcome some of the fears. I know they're very real, and they absolutely can cripple people and freeze them in their where they are and stop you from moving forward. But try and push through some of those fears, and it's the communication that'll really help you when you're thinking about separating. But you can do it in a positive way. So yeah, see how that goes, and just start the communication, because it'll really help you to move forward. Bye.